Grow Great is a city government leadership podcast with Lisa Norris and me, Randy Cantrell. Each week we share insights, experiences, and wisdom to help you and your leadership grow great. Our website is growgreat.com. When your boots don't match the map, trust your boots. Hi, Randy Cantrell here for Lisa Norris. I would say she's vacationing, but she's not. As you well know, she got a promotion, so she would tell you she's drinking from a fire hose. That's a phrase that we can all relate to. So she got her hands full. I said, listen, don't worry about it. Don't worry. This is what partners are for. This is what co-hosts are for, right? We help each other. And today, that's kind of the subject of this, frankly, is the help that we need, the help that we can take as leaders. And I mainly today, I'm going to tell you in this short episode, I want to provoke you to think. I always want to provoke you to think, but hopefully in provoking you to think, it'll provoke you to take some meaningful, positive action. Many years ago, I heard a military officer say, when describing just the art of warfare and things, when your boots don't match the map, trust your boots. And it stuck with me. It stuck with me because it is such a pointed and insightful way of saying so many wise things. One, that where we think we are versus where we actually are, well, they may not be the same. We need to trust where we actually are. And there is power in knowing where we are, even if it isn't where we intend to be. Two, our boots on the ground mean we're in it. It could be work, details, actions. I mean, in short, boots being on the ground means that we are in the details, the micro. And third, there is another perspective that is opposite of boots on the ground, and yet it's very congruent with boots being on the ground, and that is having an eye in the sky, the macro, seeing the bigger picture, something that is vital if our boots don't match the map, and frankly, it's vital even if they do. Now, from the time I first heard that phrase, I began to more carefully consider leadership's role in being boots on the ground versus being an eye in the sky. And over time, what I learned in my own leadership journey was that shifting from being in the details to seeing the big picture and knowing when to be in one place over the other, well, that's kind of the game. And experience has taught me that much of what challenges us as leaders is knowing when to be in the right place at the right time. Now, sometimes we have to be detailed. The devil is in the details we hear, and well, so is salvation. The little things matter. There simply are some things, perhaps many things, that we just have to get right. But no leader can be most effective by wearing boots all the time. There are times when we need to go to a higher elevation so that we can see things better overall. And that requires our feet leaving the ground, taking the boots off, if you please. The best leaders I've known have learned how to navigate between these two places and when to do it. It's a learned skill, like so many leadership talents. It takes practice and thoughtfulness and diligence and wisdom and a host of other things. The good news is there are times when we stay too long in one place, other times when we don't stay long enough, but if we will pay close attention to ourselves and if we will listen carefully to our teammates, we can more easily figure this out. A city manager who realizes his tendency to micromanage, which is basically because by nature, he's just a little bit more of a command and control kind of a person. And he has disciplined himself to become a little bit more collaborative. He'll always tell you he's still trying to work on it, but he's pretty good because he learned how damaging it was, especially to self-starters with high ambitions. And guess who he wanted on his team? Yeah, self-starters with high ambitions. Well, self-starters with high ambitions, they don't want a micromanager. He learned to temper that default style that he had into something that was far more effective in building a high-performing team, and that meant learning to take off the boots more. Now, that was a harder lesson. And he was learning that he found himself in so many details and in so many things, well, it was just, he couldn't even keep up. He was stressed, he was tense, and every project just had some growing sense of urgency. I mean, it seems everything was a priority, which, well, you know what that meant. I mean, years ago, I caught myself making a statement. I was a teenager, and I was working for a tyrant who acted like everything was life or death. And I made a comment to a coworker, If everything is important, then nothing is important. I knew that as a teenager. If everything is a priority, then that means we don't have any priorities. Well, his team was faltering, and they were not able to perform because, he was just in their business constantly. And in short order, in a matter of weeks, he realized his organization was struggling due to a lack of vision. Well, he himself was struggling. And it was as though everybody was walking around obsessing over their single piece of the puzzle, but nobody was helping them put their piece next to another piece so they could build a puzzle, because nobody even realized they were building a puzzle. And as a result, everybody lost sight of the fact that they were really in this together. Now, being the smart guy that he was, and he does have a high degree of self-awareness, but that had only provoked him to be collaborative, which turns out was very fortuitous because he had a direct report who quietly and respectfully approached him, and he listened. The courage to be that leader for the boss, outstanding, just outstanding, invaluable. So the direct report who made an appointment with him said, "We are desperate to have somebody who can show us how our work fits into the whole." He went on to encourage the city manager to trust the team to do their work because they could handle that. That's what they did. What they could not do is they could not do what he, the city manager, he alone could do. They could not provide the big picture. They could not architect putting the puzzle pieces together. They only knew their piece of the puzzle. His unique ability as a city manager, it was a role that only he could fill, but he could only fill that if he was more in the sky. Well, it worked. Took time for him to figure out how to best do it, but he was dedicated to the effort, and he would tell you that the magic happened when he pulled his direct reports together, ongoing, and urged them to help him. And guess what? Happily, they did. It was the best thing he could have done because it gave him multiple perspectives now, capable of saying to him, "Hey, we need you down in these details just for a minute or two." Or, "Hey, we need you to give us a bigger picture." Today, he'll tell you he doesn't have to think about it. His team tells him when he needs to get his boots on, and his team tells him when he needs to take the boots off. Now, as a leader, sometimes we need the smallest details, and we need to help in those details. And, I used to coach quite a bit of hockey. There's a lot about the game that I know because I've intently studied it for decades. There are many other things I'm ill-equipped to provide because I've never played. Enter an experienced player who can best give very precise instruction on certain aspects of the game. Aspects that are important in a one-on-one battle, because that really is all hockey is. It's a series of these one-on-one battles all over the rink, but it doesn't really speak to the strategy, and yet it's vital. Don't hesitate to put your boots on for such things. Just remember, your boots are best used showing somebody details they might not yet know. Being able to coach somebody up. So show them. And then take your boots off. Get back to where you mostly belong, and that is at an elevation that gives you a bigger perspective so you can see how all the puzzle pieces are coming together. You can see if they're coming together and what might need to happen so they better fit together. And be sure that you share all of this insight with your team, because without you providing that vision, they are not going to be able to see how their work is making any difference at all. And over time, that'll cost them their pride. It'll cost them their morale, and the work will suffer, and the organization will weaken. Lead by example, by coaching, by encouraging, by correcting, by every means possible. Lead. Do it from the ground. Do it from the sky. Stay in touch with the dirt, because your boots don't lie. But keep your focus up in the sky, because that's going to drive every member of your team, ensuring that they are headed in the right direction. Be well, do good, grow great. My name is Randy Cantrell. Lord willing, Lisa will be back with us next week. It'll be way more fun then. Thanks for clicking play. Thanks for watching and listening to Grow Great, a city government leadership podcast. For Lisa Norris, I'm Randy Cantrell. Be well, do good, grow great. The website is growgreat.com.